Well, now we begin our countdown of the top weather events across western central Wyoming for the calendar year 2022. And we have 4 from this year. We'll start with number 4. That's the record heat we had across here in early September. Now, personally, I think September is the best month here in Wyoming. Days are still pretty warm. It cools off at night, so you can open your windows up, air the house out. Most of the tourists are gone, so we have the state to ourselves. But somebody forgot to turn the summer machine off during this month, and it felt like more like July than the first part of September. And to illustrate this, I'll show you some charts here. These are 500 millibar charts. Basically a snapshot of what's occurring about 18,000 feet above sea level, so about 3.5 miles. Now, Wyoming's right here. I know this doesn't show up very well, so I'll outline it. There we go. Okay, now look at these lines. These are called height lines. I'll see why these are important in a minute. But notice how, as a rule, they tend to bulge northward over here across the western part of the U.S. and then dip southward across the west, at the eastern part of the U.S., I should say. Now, when they bulge northward, this is what we draw this color ridge, and that's a trough over here. Usually when you get ridging, it tends to be warmer. Troughing tends to be cooler weather. Now, watch how this changes, or how little it changes, as we go through the period. Now, here's the third. You can see it bulging northward a little bit. You get squashed a little bit further to the south. You can see a little disturbance coming here across Montana, but then as we head toward the latter part of the period on the 5th, the 6th, and especially the 7th, you can see it pushing way north here. Now, this has 2 main components why it got so hot. Number 1, under these ridges with these height lines, just think of heights as weights in the atmosphere, basically, more stacking more bricks in it. Now, what this has 2 effects. Number 1, usually when things get compressed, they warm up, we get warmer temperatures. And the other thing it does, it tends to suppress any kind of cooling showers and thunderstorms you get, because it takes a lot more energy for the any kind of cloud to bubble up and pop through the atmosphere and produce any rain. And plus the fact the sun's not as strong as September, so we don't have as much energy going into the atmosphere. And the other thing is, it's with the jet stream. Now, usually when you want cool weather, you want the jet stream to go south of you, but usually it follows the top of the ridge. That's why a lot of times in the summer you get thunderstorms going over the top of the ridge. Now, you can see here, the top of the ridge is right here, so the jet's all the way up here into Canada. It doesn't really dip southward until you get down here to the Great Lakes and into the northeast. So we're under a really warm, high-pressure area. Well, how hot did we get? Well, the heat peaked on the 4th. See, many areas cracking the 100-degree mark there. 103 was a high temperature in Grable. That was the highest I could find across this area. And many areas saw their first 100-degree temperature in September. And some places broke their monthly record in September of 2 or 3 days. And to illustrate this, this is the days across our official sites that days of record high temperatures. Here at the airport, we had 8 straight days of record high temperatures. Now, our record's only back here to 1995, so not that impressive, but the one that really impressed me here is Lander. Records here go back to 1891, so 131 years of records. 7 out of 8 days, they broke the high temperature for the day. You can see Rock Springs did it, also did it 7 days. Grayville did it 7 days. Casper did it 3. Worland 2. And Buffalo did it 3. Big Piney did it 5. So a very warm period there. We'll have number 3 tomorrow. And one more thing I want to point out, though, before we go to that. We ended it in true Wyoming fashion because on the 9th, a cold front dropped southward, and we had snow up in the mountains. And this will be a foreshadow to number 3, which will be a wintry event. Stay tuned tomorrow for that.